everyone, welcome back to another Jazz Drum Q-Tip of the week. My name is Quincy Davis. Thank you so much for tuning in to this lesson. And I am paying tribute to one of the all-time great drummers, a hero of mine and many, who we recently lost last week, the great Al Foster. He was truly one of the greatest drummers to do it. So I'm going to pay tribute by just talking about him a little bit. Then I'm going to break down 16 of my personal favorite Al Foster phrases and licks. These things are tricky, but if you get them, they're bad and you can work them in so many different ways. So you definitely want to check that out. Of course, there's a PDF that I've created. If you're interested, the link is down below. So Al Foster was born in Richmond, Virginia in 1943. However, he grew up in New York City. And that is key because he grew up listening and watching all the great masters, specifically Philly Joe Jones, Art Blakey, and one of his really big influences, Max Roach. His first album that he recorded as a sideman came in 1964. That means he was only 21, right? 21. He was 21 when he recorded the great album, The Thing to Do, with Blue Mitchell, wonderful trumpeter. If you haven't heard this album, you got to check it out. It's really important. He would go on to record 4 or 5 albums with Blue Mitchell, but those first couple, The Thing to Do and Down with It especially, his sound, his playing, his touch, his ideas, it was so unique to Al Foster already at that time. And I think that's because he didn't grow up with formal training. So a lot of things he played were a little more unconventional, and I think that's what made him so unique. They were unconventional, but extremely hip, almost like tongue twisters. I'm going to get into some of those phrases later, but so he would go on to record with Blue Mitchell, amongst many, many other incredible artists such as Dexter Gordon, Joe Henderson, Dave Howland, John Schofield, Stan Getz, Herbie Hancock. I mean, the list goes on and on. Dave Holland, right? Tommy Flanagan. The list goes on and on. He actually recorded over 400 albums. 400 albums. And 7 of those albums actually came as a leader. And I had the chance to see his quartet on several occasions. And let me tell you, he was something special. He was such a strong leader. I think a lot of people think of him as playing with such great touch and kind of playing understated, and that's only if you've heard him on album. Maybe you might think that, but if you see him in person, he plays with so much conviction and strength and power and authority. Not to say he's always playing loud, but he just plays strong. And not to mention all the stuff he plays. He's got a lot of really cool stickings that you can only pick up from seeing him live. I also have to make sure I mention that he played with Miles Davis over 10 years. He was one of Miles's favorite drummers, and this is when Miles started morphing more into fusion and the funk and the pop side. Miles loved him. They were really good friends, and actually Miles said he's one of the few drummers who he trusted with his music in all different facets or styles that his bands or iterations that his bands went through. And that is saying a lot because I know Miles was very picky and tough on drummers. That's a testament to how great Al Foster was. All right, so now I want to talk about some of these slick Al Foster traits and characteristics. One of them, which is he would do all the time, is just simply opening and closing the hi-hats. Right? Whether he's playing time, so you can, and this is something you can practice, right? And just add your hi-hat. 2, 3, 4. Right? And this is just me pontificating. I wonder if that's something he got from seeing Tony playing on all 4 quarter notes. But Tony would play them all closed. So maybe this was his spin. He did say that when he saw Jack DeJohnette around in the mid 60s, he realized, or it motivated him to get his own style. So this is one of those Al Foster traits and characteristics that you always hear. And he would use the bell a lot. All right. Or he would just hit the crash cymbal. He would have a crash on the left hand, and he would just hit the crash cymbal really strong on the downbeat. Another thing that he would do is he would play the cymbal with the tip and the drums with the tip of his stick. So he would do this. And it's a real unique sound. So maybe he would play, if it's 1, 2, 3, 4. And you can hear it kind of rebound a little bit. These are all textures that he would create. And then another thing that goes along with playing with the tips, right, is he would scrape. He would scrape the cymbals. Yes, scrape. And the drums. And actually, I remember seeing him, and he would go. And it was such an incredible sound. I will never forget it. But he's simply just scraping across. Or just on the cymbals. And then one more thing I want to show you before we get into the 16 phrases is he would sometimes... So maybe he'll get, right? Maybe. Sometimes they'll do. He would do it with his left hand. I'm not very good at it with my left. So he maybe go. It's really difficult. So he would just do these different things, these different textures that were so typical for him and unique to his playing. So those are just a few things that I can remember seeing him do. Maybe some of you have seen some other things, but I think you'll enjoy messing around with those textures. Now we're going to get into the 16 phrases that kicked my butt, and I know they're going to kick yours too, but they're so incredible. So check this out. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. that is today's lesson, and that's my tribute to the wonderful, important, great, masterful drummer, Aloysius Tyrone Foster, better known as Al Foster. I encourage everybody to check him out. He's, again, over 400 recordings, so there's plenty to choose from, all right? Check out these 16 phrases. They're really fun, but they're kind of like tongue twisters. They're hard to, like, that's kind of how they feel. But once you get them, then they start to feel good. So you know what to do now. You got to practice hard, but practice smart, all right? Until the next time, take care. Peace out. Bye-bye.